welcome to the HOPCAST, where we invite you to the world of digital marketing. So let's get started for this episode. All right, and yet again we're sitting here at the HOPCAST, episode 2, season 1. 2. Yes, and we had a great start last week with our first episode where we talked about e-commerce and the tips and tricks from yours truly, Warren LaRey. But today we have another topic to discuss.
Yeah, it's a good one as well. I think we're getting a lot of questions lately on this.
Definitely it will. And the topic of the day is search versus social, the battle of the titans. Yes, you heard right. We're going to put paid search in one corner and paid social in the other, and they will be swinging at each other.
Oh, it's going to be a battle to the death on this one.
It's going to be a bloody one. But jokes aside, the objective today is to discuss and try to get clarity on where we can benefit the most from paid search and paid social. So we have a few questions lined up, and just like last week, we're going to finalize it with a quiz. You didn't get much right last week.
I really did not do well last time. Yeah.
And since we launched our HOPCAST, which you can find here and there and on our website, the Spotify have called us several times. They want to sign like a exclusivity deal with us, but we said no. Out of the kindness of our hearts, we feel that our knowledge should be shared free and everywhere with everyone.
Absolutely, if that was true.
If that was true. So let's get started, and we want to start with getting the basics right. So the first question we want to kind of clarify is the separation between paid search and paid social. And when we talk about paid search, what is paid search?
So for me, the best definition of paid search really is if you are having to put your credit card on a platform like Google, and then you are generating ads and it comes up with that sponsored at the top, that is then the definition of paid, is that you are physically paying for it. Where organic social, for example, might be indirect costs like an agency or an internal team that is doing the blogs, but you are not actually direct costs on the platform to get those rankings or those results.
So basically, paid search is the medium where we are paying for the traffic we get from search marketing. And search marketing, many people would think about Google.
Google's the most common one. Then you got Yandex, Yahoo, or Bing is now having another resurgence since ChatGPT. Yeah.
And that would also be defined as paid search.
Or
right?
search, yeah, but you can do paid and non-paid or organic on all of these platforms.
But paid search is the ads we see on the search engines, basically, right?
Yeah, search engines, yeah. And we'll probably be talking mostly about Google in today's.
Yeah, I think they have around 90% worldwide on the market share.
There and thereabouts, I think.
But not if you live in China. So in China, there's something else. Do you know the search?
I don't know what it's called.
It's Baidu.
Baidu.
And they have a lot of searches being done there as well, if you're in China.
But we are not, so we won't be focusing on that.
We are not. Okay, so paid search definition is ads on search engines. But what about if you look at Google, we have display ads, we have search ads. I'm not sure. Would we define a YouTube ad as a paid search campaign?
No, that wouldn't necessarily be specifically under search, but you would probably still do it through Google.
Yeah.
So YouTube is traditionally considered a social media channel.
Yeah.
But you would still, especially now with Google's inventory, you would still do it as if you're doing a paid search campaign through like PMax, for example, and then that would go on various different platforms, including YouTube.
Very true. Yeah. So I think Google doesn't necessarily mean search.
No.
And paid search doesn't necessarily mean Google. So
that is very true.
Basically, in this discussion, our definition is paid search is where we pay for the ads on search engines, but it needs to be based on search intent, basically.
That's correct, yes.
You mentioned Performance Max. PMax, which I think a lot of people you out there hate and love. It's a love-hate. Maybe we'll cover that in another episode.
Maybe.
All right, so we got paid search right. Moving over to the other corner of the ring. Paid
ding,
social.
Ding,
Ding, ding, ding. What is paid social?
Very similar definition, really, as if there is a direct cost, for example, on Meta, Facebook traditionally, where you are paying to have your ads get further reach, that is then paid social. Same with TikTok, same with Snapchat, where organic would be, or what we say organic social, would be when you'll just be posting on the platforms using the native platforms or through your scheduling, but you're not paying to have your ad reach further people. It's just getting it organically through hashtags or through sharing and those type of things.
All right, perfect. But what about when we boost our organic posts? Would that be considered paid social?
That would be considered paid social in my definition, yes.
And if we want to be really tricky, we can work with dark posts. But
Dark
with
posts.
dark posts also being paid social. Basically, when we put money behind our posts on social media, I guess that's paid social.
Yep, they'll be paid social.
So this doesn't necessarily need to be from the advertising platforms. And which when we talk about paid social, I think Meta is what most people refer to, but there are other, it could be any kind of social
TikTok
media.
is doing very well in terms of paid social. In this region specifically, Snapchat is also quite strong, specifically in Saudi Arabia. So yes, it's not just Facebook and Instagram. It's any social media, YouTube. You can also pay to have your ads. That will be paid social. Those places.
So even Google has a skin in the game in the social end.
Everyone's got skin in the game in social. It's an important channel.
Even Twitter. Oops, I mean X.
X, sorry.
Yes, sorry about that. So, so now we know who we have dealing with in the quarter here, and it's going to be a tough fight. I'm not sure who is going to win because it feels like they are beneficial in so many different areas. Like if you look at the benefit of, let's take search to start with. What is the main benefit of running search campaigns, and when is search campaigns really beneficial? What is your point on that?
So my point, I think search is very powerful, depending on where in the funnel the client is really. I usually recommend customers that it's a very high intent platform, because if you just think about your own user behavior, is that if you're wanting to find a product or service, you don't automatically, you might sometimes, but you don't automatically go onto Instagram and search for a product or a page like, oh, I want to buy a kennel for my dog. I don't go and search that in a social platform.
Yeah.
I search that on Google or another on Bing. So it's where people go for where they're really looking for something specific, and it's got that high intent place. They're not looking for articles. They're not looking for that inspiration. It's usually high intent. What would you class?
Yeah, I definitely. I think search in general is the cream of the crops. It's the quality visitor in general. Just because we can find the people with the intent here and now of getting information or buying something. And what we're looking for in general is what we call the transactional searches, meaning with people with the intent of buying something, basically. Yeah. That's where you see also CPC, or the cost per click, you usually higher on search than you would on social as well.
Yeah, and also high intent is also looking for specific information. So like blog articles, you would search for it because you got an idea of exactly what you're looking for, or some sort of idea.
But it also comes down to what your business is at the end of the day, right? So if you are a plumber, for instance, I would say search is great, because when people is in issues and the water is flooding, and you need help from a plumber, you're probably not going to go to your Instagram feed trying to find a plumber, right?
Yeah, hopefully an influencer might be helping you out with your plumbing.
Exactly. So I think search is great then, right? Because you can find what you're looking for at this moment. Usually they will have a click to call button. You can directly get in touch with the service provider, and it's very much mapping intent with a service, and when that is working fine, it's an amazing platform to work.
And that's a key thing to know about what Google and these other platforms are trying to do, is trying to give the best experience for you as the user on what are you looking for. Can they provide that information as quick and the correct information as possible? Yeah. So that's where it comes into how you use paid and organic search.
Definitely. I think another very main benefit of paid search, and this would be the same for paid social as well, but I think search was earlier with support of Google Analytics, obviously that it's measurable. That we are able to see the results and measure that towards the cost. Yeah. Basically giving us a return on investment, or return on ad spend, or some kind of metric to establish, is this working for me or not?
Yes, I think Google has done probably the better job out of most in terms of measurable
Yep.
and more accurately measurable. Like there is the last click, first click, different types of attribution, but they're working hard to give you the most accurate view of your measurable metrics, which depends on your objective again, which you need to consider. Compared to social, which can be a bit more ambiguous around the actual deliverables. So yeah, that's why again it is such a good platform to be able to spend some good money to get some results.
So the main benefits, you find the intent, very measurable, also allows you to test out your market pretty quickly. I guess it could be used as well for your SEO efforts if you want to try what kind of keywords is important for your business.
Yeah.
You can quickly do some tests on paid search to see if the keywords you're bidding on is yielding good results. That might make a good case to invest heavily in organic search for the same kind of clusters.
You can use them, I guess, in tandem, especially if you're a startup. That I would highly recommend that you start doing SEO as soon as you start any sort of business, because online is such an important part. But you might not have the SEO or the search engine optimization, the organic rankings yet. So you exactly that. You can still do the keyword research and then use paid to keep that traffic coming into the website, even on those keywords that you're trying to go for organically. And then later down the line, you can maybe let SEO do its work and then shift that budget elsewhere. So you can use it together with organic.
Very true, and you can start making sales directly, instantly. You set up an e-commerce, you start running paid search, you have traffic into the site within the same day, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so that's some of the main benefits of search. What about social? What's the main benefit of paid social, and why would we utilize it in our marketing tactics?
So it's a question we get asked a lot for me in this region, and in this particular region, being the Middle East, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, I'll be talking specifically about, I guess. The one main reason is that there is very few other platforms in terms of social, in terms of like billboards or anything that you have that has the penetration into the population. So in the UAE, it's 94% of the population is on a social media channel, and they're usually on 6 or more channels. So if you are looking for your clients, they are on social media. You can reach them in their pockets, in their hands, almost up to 3 hours a day, because they are on social media almost 3 hours a day. So you've got a lot of opportunity to reach the people that you want to reach through social media. Paid social, organic social, but specifically through paid, because that's where you can target them.
And that's interesting. And another main benefit, if you look at the search and paid search, it's text-based ads, right?
Yeah.
If you remove Google Shopping from the equation, and you can only say so much with words, but pictures can tell you more. And
that's a very good point. Yeah.
With paid social, we get the ability to show your products, show your services, show your USPs.
Tell a story.
Tell a story, and I think that's a main benefit from a branding point of view that social offers, or paid social offers, that search lacks.
Because you can use text as well as images, so you
videos.
can really videos. You've got a whole bunch of different ways to tell your story about your brand to a very wide audience.
So in one way, you have more of the full funnel approach on social, while search, in most cases, is more end of the funnel acquisition.
Mid-end funnel, yeah, you're right. So for social is one of those platforms that can go from top to bottom. Exactly. Engagement, everything on the end of the funnel.
And another, I think, big benefit of paid social is, I usually say that, well, if you have a product that is in demand, if you have a service that people are asking for, search is great, because we have the intent. We can connect this intent with your store or whatever asset you have.
Yeah.
But if you're selling something that's new in the market, or something that people might not have a big intent of buying, search will struggle, because people are not searching for what you are offering.
Yeah, especially unique products, very specific ranges that there's not high volumes.
Exactly.
The search engines might not really have the algorithmic ability to know who to service to.
That's true, and that's a big benefit of paid social, that we can push the message in their eyes. And another one I think is important is that with search, we know very much what people want.
Yeah.
But we don't always know what they can or who they are.
What do you mean?
I mean that, well, intent is great, but if I'm selling a product or a service that people are asking for, but they will never be in a position to buy it, it might drive traffic, but they won't be able to convert.
Yeah, that's true.
But on social, we can build audience more on demographics. That might be better if you sell, for instance, luxury items,
Yep.
lifestyle products,
Yes, yes.
or more aspirational services or products.
That's what you're saying. So basically, like me who likes Lamborghini cars, I might search them, go onto the pages, but I might not actually have the.
You will still be
ability to
driving
buy.
your Toyota
Yes.
back home. So that's that's a big difference. So I think that's a benefit of paid social, and enables you to tap into audiences that you might have a difficulty finding on search, or it will be very expensive to acquire them through search.
That's very true. Yeah, that's a good point.
So we have some benefits of paid social, some benefits of paid search, but when we look at the Google ads, we have different inventory to talk. We mentioned some of them before.
Yeah, so Google is, especially recently, more recently in the last couple of years, have really opened up the inventory, and it's now really a wide range of options, as we mentioned about YouTube. That's part of the inventory. There's display, there's remarketing, there's text ads, there's shopping ads for e-commerce. So they've really got quite a few options for you.
They have a few options, and some of them are very promising. It really depends on your business. But when we look at search now, and obviously we're very heavily invested in Google in this discussion of Google search. What do you think about Bing? Is Bing something that a advertiser should consider adding to their mix if search is an important part of their marketing strategy?
So search should be part of everyone's marketing strategy in some way. I would, depending on how mature their marketing is, if you're looking for that 10% uplift, then yes, focusing on something like Bing or the other search engines will start getting you that unreached audiences. But first of all, start with Google, because that's the bulk of the market, unfortunately.
Why unfortunately?
Well, because it's never good to have a monopoly, right? It's because then there is also a certain risk if you don't have many channels and you're only investing in one, like just Google.
Yep.
There's a risk to your business if suddenly your ads get suspended, which happens often. You might not know of the policy change, and then next day suddenly all your ads are suspended, or they've blocked your merchant accounts, and then you really battle to get those sales in that you rely on. So diversifying your strategy is highly recommended when you have the budgets and the ability to do so. Yep. And then going into Bing or these other platforms is good, because there is a market that is just on them, and that's how you can reach them effectively once you can stretch out a lot.
But we talk about this a lot with our clients, diversifying and accepting a lower yield just to have a bit of security. But how much can we really diversify in the world of Meta and Google? I mean, they have such a big power in this space.
They do.
So is it even possible to remove those platforms from your mix if you rely on paid traffic?
Not really to fully remove those channels. So the ideal is you need to test all platforms and see how it works for you, what's the results and things like that. But it's kind of like an insurance policy, right? Is that if you're on Meta and not on TikTok, try TikTok, see how it works for you, invest a little bit in there, and then see what it does for you, and then you can always know if you have to switch platforms quickly for whatever reason. You've got a bit of understanding. You know what the results are, so you can know how much to invest there a little bit. But you can never really defer risk from these platforms, because they just do have such a monopoly on the users. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It also means that you know where to focus your energies. But it is good to understand the risk, especially on e-commerce with your shopping ads. When those get banned for whatever reason, in and out of your control, that can really affect your business. So it's good to understand what the risk is.
And I guess social is easier to diversify, because at least you have TikTok, you have Meta, you have Snapchat, you have X.
And there's less of a monopoly there nowadays. There's actually quite a good split. Although Meta has probably the most power for transactional, but the other platforms are really coming up quite nicely.
So then we have Meta, we have paid social, we have TikTok. Now what kind of ads do we usually run there? Statics could be one type of ad we would run in one format. Videos work really well. We have carousels. And so all these different formats to kind of...
What's your favorite at the
My
moment?
favorite is carousels, which usually converts pretty low, but I think they're pretty sweet to scroll early on. And
So the carousels are great, like especially with branding, messaging, and stuff like it, or multi-products. That works very well.
yes, I try to detoxify myself from social media, so you won't see me near social media nowadays. But carousels will always hold a dear place in my heart.
So I think video, I know, is a big push in general with all the social platforms for good reason. But currently we still see with our clients that statics, single statics, convert very well for leads, very, very well, and very well for promotions.
Yeah.
Carousels works very well for branding and for that engagement type of metrics, and then video as well for engagement and those type of ones. But statics, the good old static image, still seems to work.
Yeah, it's the killer, right? It's a good one, and I think it's important to try to look at the whole spectrum. Don't rely on one asset. Work multiple assets. Do
A/B test.
A/B test. Yes, both. And I would say that goes for search copies, ad copies on search as well.
Anything on digital, please. We don't A/B test enough in our digital marketing. It is quite sometimes a bit of a laborious task, but on all your digital platforms.
Test, and once you're done tested or testing, then test some more.
Test again.
Yeah,
test
again.
from the start again.
Yes, that's interesting. All right, so we mentioned some of the benefits of Google Ads or paid search. Sorry, but where do we think that they might struggle? I think I mentioned one of them. I think it's, if you don't have a real demand for a specific service or product, they might struggle because there's not enough inventory.
Yes. Yeah.
Another one is scalability. When you have, let's say, captured your market, your impression share is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
It can be tricky on search to scale your budget with efficiency without going too broad with the keywords.
Yes. So I guess that's true, is trying to scale that when you've got such a high impression share. The other concern when you do have that impression share is that you might be spending on search, but you're cannibalizing already customers that would have converted it already. So that's the other challenge, is that scalability, is if you already got most of the market share.
Yeah.
How do you utilize search effectively? Because if you drop your budgets, you have to test to see there.
And the answer to that question is you hire HOP as your digital marketing agency.
And we'll tell you how.
Okay. No, I'm just kidding. So we have a few struggles or challenges with situations where search might struggle as a platform.
Yeah, the other one is policy violations. So depending what your industry is, you might battle with search ads in certain aspects, especially like in healthcare and fitness, weight loss, those type of industries. It's possible to do search, but you are limited on certain like pharmaceutical drugs. So there it's where your clients are, but you have to find ways to still utilize the platform in the correct way that adds value to the consumer.
And as always, consult your healthcare provider before implementing any of these advices. So we have some challenges with search. Opportunities, of course, as well. Paid social allows us the opportunity to tap into these demographics, work on the lifestyle aspect, the aspirational content, but it might also struggle, right? So where do you think situations when paid social might be a difficult...
Paid social.
Paid social.
Yeah. So again, policy violations we find on paid social more of a challenge.
Because you have the imagery and the text.
Yes, imagery and the text, and then it seems to be these platforms take the side on the air of caution. Especially after the political issues that it's had in the past. So they would rather ban, even if a product seems something, if you mention the wrong description, or if there's a comment or things like that, it will just ban it, and then you have to appeal. It's a lot time consuming. So I find a lot of challenges around that for paid social. The other one is because it's got such a broad reach, you can sometimes get irrelevant traffic there, because although you can reach everyone and you can target, it is, especially with the death of cookies, it's very hard to be very precise as we used to be with paid social. So targeting, you can get some good targeting, but there is some ambiguity there which you have to be comfortable with.
Yeah, and I guess the benefit of search being that you get the intent is the downfall of social, that if there's no real, if you sell something that is very intent driven, I mentioned the plumber, maybe you sell, you help people whose car broke down on roadside assistance. that service that feels it's very strong on search because it's intent driven.
Yeah.
Might be challenging for them to advertise efficiently to drive sales on paid social.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So it's more like for those type of industries, I would use probably paid social.
It's a branding.
Social as more branding. So when you have broken
You think
down
of them directly.
and you put in that search one, you've already got that brand trust and awareness there. But it is a difficult one, right? Because what's the direct return on investment from that kind of
no, but it's a good point because I guess eventually as a brand what you want is not to people to search for the services you provide. You want the audience to search for your brand because they associate that with the services you provide.
100%, yes.
And that what you mean is that we can, the roadside assistance business, if they invest heavily in their branding or awareness campaign on paid social, they will logically increase the number of branded searches on search, but that's a long road to walk.
That's it. So even though we've got these two in the opposite corners, the most effective strategy is to have them be friends at the end of the day, and utilize them in the right place for your business, for the intent at the time. So because if you do your overall strategy between paid and search, your overall cost of acquisition should come down and should be more effective marketing if you utilize them in the right ways.
So I understand and I agree. So we have a lot of benefits of both platforms. We have some challenges with both. I actually need to go soon because Joe Rogan called in because of our huge success. So I'm going to jump in and help him on his next podcast. But before that, we're going to go through our quiz. But first, if you need to choose search paid or paid social, what would be your favorite?
My favorite is probably paid social.
Paid social. I would say paid search any day of the week. But before we close the chapter of today's podcast, which has been the search versus top social, the battle of the titans, these giants, we have our quiz. And last week's quiz was not a successful one for Warren. He didn't get a single right one, but the question was difficult, to be honest.
Really battled.
So today, let's see if you get anything right. So I read the questions, Warren, he will provide the answers. So the first question, how many people search for hairdresser Dubai in UAE every month? And you don't need to get exactly the number, but I would say you need to give it within 100.
Specifically hairdresser Dubai?
Yeah, specifically hairdresser Dubai. Exactly hairdresser Dubai.
About 200?
That is incorrect. 480 searches per month according to SEMrush. There might be some discrepancy. Maybe do you think it's a seasonality to it?
I think there's a seasonality to it, especially in Dubai over the summer. I expect searches to drop. That's a good question. If it's that low, then paid social, get your message out there that you've got a salon in your area.
All right, so we're moving on to the next question. So 0 correct answers for Warren so far. The second question is, which year was Google Ads released?
Google Ads released.
Yes. Do you know when Google was launched?
No, 1995?
I think it was 96 or 98. I think 98.
Okay, 98, okay. Yeah. That makes Google Ads round about on the turn of the century, so millennia 2000?
2000 is the correct answer.
I got one right in two podcasts.
Well done, Warren. 2000 was Google Ads released, and I think Google Analytics was released shortly after. So imagine, in the beginning there was no tracking; it was just spending. But I think it was pretty cheap to advertise on.
Yeah, I think you had to go through Google those days. I think they gave you something that was not even.
I'm not that old, Warren, but you are,
Fair
so
enough.
you would know. Okay, so the next question, move on, is how many match types and what are they called does Google Ads or Google Search Ads have and provide? And this is difficult because it feels like this changes.
Yeah, they do change all the time. So let me count them out. There's exact.
Yes.
Phrase.
Yes.
Match.
Phrase match.
Phrase match. Exact phrase match.
That's two.
Broad.
Broad.
I'll
Yes.
just keep counting.
You have
words.
three. You have broad. You have phrase. You have
counting
exact.
words.
There's one more.
Probably negative.
Yes, negative is correct.
So what's that? 4?
Yeah, that's correct
4,
answer.
5, 4.
That is correct. It's 4. We have broad, phrase, exact, and negative. We used to have one which was my favorite of them all, called BMS. am the broad match modifier. And it worked like magic. But right now, these are the ones that we have. It no longer exists. It's become broad. And I think like in soon, they will probably kill others as well. I think probably it's just going to be broad in the future.
Yeah, I think they're just going to go P-Max.
Yes, I think for people like us, less to do, more time off, which is a good thing.
Yeah, great.
So you have two correct answers. Yeah, all right. So we have
than I've done before.
We have the last question now, and this is: what does X stand for in Elon Musk's rebranding of Twitter?
Oof, I think that is the $1 million question, or the $44 billion question. Sure, like maybe something like to do with Wolverine, like the X-Men.
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no clue.
Okay,
If anyone knows, I tried to Google it, but I didn't get any good answers. If anyone knows, it doesn't. It has SpaceX as well, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Maybe it's related to space, Mars. I don't know. All right. So, if you have any suggestions on what the X stands for, please write in the comments, or if you've got any questions about social media, paid media, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, and if you want to know what we're going to talk about next week's episode, you need to subscribe to this channel and see for yourself next week.
And wherever you get your podcasts as well. And please sign up to our newsletters. That's the best way to get in the loop.
All right. Have a great weekend and see you next time. Bye.
Yes, bye-bye.